Renegades finding the victory over Avant in the DreamHack Masters Spring ANZ Finals, and now it's time for Tyloo to uphold their end of the bargain here in Asia as we turn our eyes towards this grand final match between Tyloo and Vici Gaming. Now, we did expect that this was going to be the matchup as we bring Karath and Pilski back onto the desk, but it's been an interesting way to get here. Tyloo, of course, coming through from the upper bracket. Vici almost struggling yesterday in the lower bracket. Fellas, how are we feeling about how DreamHack Masters Spring has gone as far as the Asian contingent is concerned?
Overall, I think a little bit disappointing, in all honesty. I think that's fair to say, given like how the upper bracket matchups went up between Tyloo and Vici first up. That was just really I think, interesting match, in all honesty. It was a best of three, sure, and eventually it was taken 2-1 by Tyloo, but it was just all over the place. Just 3 one-sided maps, and then the Thai teams, once again, just disappointing Mitch as well, I guess. That's a fair summary.
I mean, it's kind of sad because we knew when we were coming into this playoff, you know, we were a couple months too late to see some good forms out of the Thai teams. Probably some other names that you would throw into the mix if you were going to pick a top 4 to, you know, represent Asia a little bit better than we've seen in this tournament in the Asia playoffs of DreamHack. End of the day, though, 2 of the good representatives have made it all the way to the grand final and will be duking it out for quite a bit of money and quite a bit of Pro Tour points.
I mean, you say good representatives. Is it fair to say that at the moment for both of these teams? Because I got to be honest, I've been a little bit disappointed with Vici in this competition.
I don't see... I mean, yeah, maybe. They've already beaten all the teams you'd expect them to. They had their problems with Tyloo, but let's be real, they have still taken naps off of Tyloo, even if they do seem to have a bit of a mental block when it comes to playing with them. Let's not forget that in Road to Rio, they did beat Tiger. Obviously, in Weibo Cup, it's a little bit of a different story, but it's not like Vici is a bad team by any stretch of the imagination, and it's not completely impossible that they can actually win this grand final.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe my expectations were a little bit too high of this Vici roster. Now, Kev, you're a different opinion to what I normally get to converse with when I'm on the desk with Pilski. So I want to get your take on this Vici roster. Did you feel as though there was a situation where they were sort of up the top of the Asian region, or was it always Tyloo as far as you're concerned?
No, they were top definitely of the Asia region, probably about the end, maybe midway through 2019, because you always talk about Tyloo being like on top #1, but there was a period where Vici Gaming were actually the ones getting the international opportunities, actually convincingly beating Tyloo in these domestic matchups. Like you'd see it in a best of 3 or a best of 5, and Vici just always seemed to have the goods and actually took down Tyloo multiple times. So it's just now, it seems like it's flipped back again. And whether it's down to Tyloo actually making the correct roster changes or maybe the rivalry developing further, we'll have to find out, because Vici just haven't really looked also too crash hot in their form recently as well. I think that's also a big contributing factor.
Something that we'll dive into a little bit here, but first we do want to talk about Tyloo. They're the team that's come through from the upper bracket. They're the team that is going to have that 1 match advantage, similar to Renegades obviously in ANZ. And at the moment, I think it's probably fair to say that Tyloo probably do relinquish control again of that first seed away from the likes of Vici, who, going into Road to Rio, at least Pilski, yourself and I, we were very much on that Vici hype train. But I think I've jumped off the bandwagon a little bit here now, gone back over to Tyloo again.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. They're just a solid roster. They're continuing to improve. The new additions that they picked up have not missed a beat. There haven't really been any disappointing performances, which, just shows that these are some great pickups. This is a very, very scary looking Tyloo roster, and they've only gone strength to strength every game and every tournament that we watch them participate in.
Yeah, absolutely. Across the board, seems like a couple of good additions to the roster as well, Kev. They've gone for the full 5 Chinese squad, and it seems to be slowly but surely improving as we see a little bit more of Tyloo.
Yeah, absolutely. They can get the communication all back on the same line. And I mean, the new pickups have been looking the goods to the extent that somebody's actually the weakest aimer right now on that team. Just imagine that statement. Somebody is the weakest aimer out of all 5 of these members.
Yeah.
That's the summary of Tyloo. Like that is legitimately the summary where Danking's the one that's exploding away and slowly also looking like he's the goods as well. And Summer and Attacker have found this like vintage form. Like you remember like these old clips of Summer and Attacker back when he was fancy, where they just dropped 30s against some international opponents, and they're back in that sensation, it's pretty scary.
Yeah, okay. Well, then maybe we want to steer the conversation in the direction of the two new players on this Tyloo roster, that being Danking and Slowly. Now, when Danking was added to the roster, everyone was quite excited to see him, and Orpa from the Chinese region. Not something that we see all that often, at least at the top level of Asian Counter-Strike. I feel predominantly the top Orpas have come more from the likes of Southeast Asia. You know, we've got Splashky from Singapore, Kaze from Malaysia, these kinds of areas. But he's brought into the roster, and we all sort of expect that he's going to have a good time. Slowly is a bit more of an interesting addition. People, I don't think, were quite as excited to see Slowly in this Tyloo roster, but he's been quietly plugging away and been a very solid addition to the team.
Yeah, and I think that's a similar sort of role that he's gone and he's played on eHome. That's a team that's tested Tyloo with when they had Zeta and Freeman a couple of times online. So you could just see the whole reason why these players were scouted, the whole reason why these players were picked up is just because they've done it the hard way. It's not like they've gone, oh, you know, this guy is not in a successful team and we've decided to scout them just based on what we think of them or any personal relationships. They've very much earned their spot in the team because their talent, their statistics, and the results that they're getting in a bit of a lackluster team in the Chinese region are undeniable. These guys have talent, and they've proven it at least online in the Asian region multiple times. So they had to be given a go.
Seems to have taken the entry role as well in Tyloo. Are you a fan of Slowly, Kev?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't deny that his rifling's been looking the goods. So, I mean, it's just, once again, it's just working for Tyloo at the moment as they're all able to hit their shots. But the question is when their opponents are able to rise to the occasion, what else do Tyloo have, right? Like, how well have their strategies developed as their lineup? Obviously, they did make the recent change about 2-3 months ago now, hasn't it? So how has the strategies developed? Because, I mean, the big question mark here, and I don't think we've really mentioned it so far, is that Tiger's not really part of this tournament, and they're the ones that are looking like they're the best in Asia right now. So Tyloo, for me, needs to take a convincing victory over Vici in these grand finals, and then eventually down the line, take a victory against Tiger to once again re-cement them as #1 in Asia.
Well, we'll see how difficult of a situation that is going to be for Tyloo as we now take a bit of a look at the Vici roster. They're a team that obviously we've seen a lot of. They are one that hasn't had too many roster changes. You go back to 2019 where they were looking for that core fifth, and they had like Frankie 19 for a bit after they had Freeman, and now Jamyoung's come into the roster here as well, and it seems like they've really settled on Jamyoung. Now, I have to say, Jamyoung is one of my favorite players to watch at the moment, but I think for Vici as a roster, there is just something that's a little bit kind of lacking to get them towards that top end of the scene. You know, they're up there, but they're not the best, and I don't really know why.
I think Vici, they've become stale. They've become a little stagnant as of late. The problem is that the individual firepower just isn't really there. The players aren't always able to consistently be in form game in, game out. And that's a big problem when you come up against a team like Tyloo, where all 5 of them seem to be firing on all cylinders. It's interesting that the way that this Tyloo roster started, when we looked at them come together in Road to Rio, they were starting to play a little bit more standard of a style. They were starting to play some more default CS. But then, when they went up against Vici, it's like they flipped the switch back to old Tyloo and they started playing this aim-based game, because the truth is, it's smart. That's the way you beat Vici, and it's worked time and time again for Tyloo, so how can you even blame him at this point? It's extremely effective.
You sort of think the cracks are showing as well, Kev, for this Vici roster here in DreamHack Masters Spring?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, mentally, they look like they're a little bit shot against Tyloo. Once again, that series, I don't want to take too much results out of the first series that they versed against each other. Like, 3 one-sided maps really is an indication of how well it can go. It was just like, okay, we decided to aim better than you in this map, and then it just switched, and then it switched again. It's, I don't know. It just all comes down to Vici actually finding some form, and I think they're in a bit of a slump at the moment. You look at their games against Beyond. Sure, Beyond looked decent, but Vici should not be struggling against a decent performance from Beyond. Let's be realistic about it.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
They should be like leagues ahead. They should be like putting them in the dirt. I know that sounds like really harsh, but Vici is the caliber of the team where they should be like 16-7, 16-6 over teams like Beyond, but they didn't.
All right, well, maybe there's a barometer for the Vici roster, and I think that barometer's name is Zoking. When he's having a solid performance on that entry role for Vici, it seems like Vici's having a good time. So does he sort of feel like the key for you, Pilsky, or is it maybe just a little bit of an indication of how Vici are playing based on what we see from Zoking?
I mean, you could see the indicator of it in their series against Tyloo before, and also his difference between the group stage of Road to Rio versus the playoffs of Road to Rio. If Zoking's playing well, things are going well for Vici, because the thing is, Vici, the way that the team's balanced out, they don't have enough aggressive players a lot of the time. A lot of the time you'll see someone who would probably be more fitted to be a bit more supportive with the utility, like Advent has to go in aggressively and create space for some of the other players on a lot of these T-side tactics. If Zoking's doing it, he's quite hit or miss, and the consistency can be an issue for him. So if he's firing on all cylinders and he's being aggressive on the T side or on the CT side a lot of the time that we see it, and he's having success with it, it's a completely different Vici Gaming than we usually see, because I feel like if he's having success doing that, if he's going out there and creating space, it makes the whole team better. You see players like Orman play a hell of a lot better. You see Jam Young be able to break down the mid-round and have opportunities to make mid-round reads. You know, it changes the entire game for Vici.
What's your takeaway from the Vici roster then, Kev? Obviously, we've touched a little bit on Zoking, but he's not the only solid sort of player, and there's actually even a couple I would feel that you could almost put in that sort of superstar role for the Vici roster that are very inconsistent, and on their day can really take the game away from a team like Tyloo as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just down to, I think the only consistent performer right now has been Orman, really, pretty much for this roster. He's the one that looks like he's doing a lot of the good work right now for Vici Gaming. Whereas you look at Jam Young, he's been very, very cold recently in a couple of these matches. I think he might have had a few good performances on Nuke recently, and that's about it. You look at Advent, you can't be relying him on firepower. Let's be realistic. He's got the big brains, but not really the huge aim. And if Kaze, who's also been in a slump, like, normally you go, Kaze is pretty good at AWPing. He drops 20, drops 30. Where's that gone? Like, couldn't even do it against Beyond yesterday. It was like a pretty abysmal series where Zoking kind of got them over the line. So the question is for Vici, if there are only 2 players activate, the game will be close. If 3 players activate, they can win. If only 1 person activates, that's it. They lose against Tyloo.
Well, seems fair enough, and I think that's a good time to turn our attention and our discussion to the maps, which are also going to be pretty interesting, right? Because we've seen a lot of matchups here between Tyloo and Vici of late. First, we'll take a look at Tyloo's performances across the map pool now. Nuke, we know, is their perma veto. Aside from that, you look at the stats and you think, oh, Inferno doesn't look that good, Train doesn't look that good. But I think the context is quite important when it comes to these maps.
Yeah, these stats are garbage. I mean, half of them are from their own old lineup where they had Freeman and Zeta. Doesn't even incorporate the results from, you talk about bringing Dan King and slowly into the roster. So not to mention, you know, some of them are from Pro League against international teams. It's not a real representation of where Tyloo is at form-wise on a lot of these maps, and I've been bringing that up time and time again when we meme about percentage win rate on a map. As for Vici, obviously they haven't gone overseas, so, you know, a lot of these stats look a hell of a lot more inflated than you see something out of a Tyloo, and that's because, like we said, you look at Road to Rio group stages, you look at some of the matchups against some of the lesser tier opposition in Asia, they are absolutely blowing them out of the water. But you look at their stats against a Tiger, you look at their stats against a Tyloo, it's a different story.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, that said though, Vici did manage to take that 2-1 over Tiger back in Road to Rio, so that was a month ago. If they're able to at least salvage that form again,
Group stage.
maybe. Yeah, that was a group stage match, obviously, and then they versed their arch nemesis at Tyloo, which, well, devolved down to a very interesting series, obviously.
Yeah, certainly will. Also, given the fact that this is a best of 5, so the map pool has opened up a little bit, and we potentially could go a little bit deeper into the map pool than these teams might like. Okay, let's get into the discussion about the map veto, and of course we have the 2 vetoes to start things off. Again, very obvious vetoes, I would say, from these 2 teams. So let's just bring them up to start things off here. It's Nuke away from Tyloo, Dust 2 away by Vici. That's standard fare up to this point. But what are we looking at as far as the first couple of picks are concerned? Because again, we talk about that map, that matchup between Renegades and Avant and how important the order of the maps are going to be. So is it the same kind of a concept coming into this Chinese Grand Final?
I think, you know, as much as it is a meme with win rate on Inferno, I don't think you want to first pick Inferno if you're Tyloo. I would like to see them go towards a Mirage or something of that nature. I don't know, like, I would normally advocate for an overpass. We saw how that worked the other day for Vici, but let's be real, Tyloo was basically just running at them. There wasn't any depth or nuance to the strategy.
Yeah, I mean, that was just
It was a very aggressive playstyle, and Vici could not deal with it at all.
Fair enough.
What about a train from Vici?
It might be okay. Tyloo's definitely, with this new lineup, been playing Train quite a lot. We even saw them play it a few times in Road to Rio, especially, like, remember that game against D13, where they were sort of recovering a little bit on the T side, so they definitely have their reps in on Train. I don't think there's any, like, given map for either side that they could just pick it and get an instant win, especially after I would have assumed something like Overpass might be a little bit more effective for Vici, and it just came down to an aim-based game. I think if Tyloo's uncomfortable on a map, they just mask it by playing hyper-aggressively and getting in the face of their opponents, so the map pool becomes less of a factor sometimes unless Vici can actually play their game.
That may be a bit of an insight as to what we're going to get out of this series, but we'll hold that thought for the moment as we do take a look now at our first couple of map picks. It's Mirage, it's Inferno. So you had your questions about the Mirage pick here. It's going to come in from Tyloo. Inferno is not really a huge surprise at all from Vici. That has at least been the one sort of more consistent map out of the pool than any other.
Oh, you're seeing the vetoes start to evolve over time as these two teams play each other more. Like Tyloo picked Inferno last time, now they're picking Mirage, a shaky map for Vici that they've had very mixed results on, and Vici's going towards an Inferno, so it's kind of weird because back in the day, these are the vetoes that you would have seen between these two teams in some of their older iterations of the rosters and things of that nature, or maybe you'd see Vici go a little bit wider on the map pool or something like that. And now we've come back around full circle after they played each other a couple times with these new rosters.
Yeah, heading straight back into the middle of the map pool. There's a few that remain. I'm kind of interested to see which one is going to get removed. I'm personally hoping to see a bit of a Train out here, so I'd like to see Train as the third map pick.
Well, Vertigo's still in there. I'm keen to see if that's just going to get left for last.
Well, let's go ahead and bring them up and see what we do get. It is Train from Tyloo, so we get that wish at least, but not the Vertigo. So to end here on Overpass, you guys have been talking about that being a bit of an awkward one here for Vici, so I'd say they probably don't want to let it get all the way down to Overpass. But in doing that, they would then have to win the first 3 maps of the pool.
Yeah, I mean, and then Train with your Mirage as well. I don't know. It's like for Vici, they have to win. It's pretty much just going to go all the way down to the wire if they are to take the victory. For Tyloo, this is looking very good for them to actually just get the clean sweep. They can just go, yeah, you know, we lost in Inferno. What didn't work for us, boys? Yeah, it was the aim. Let's just shoot better, guys. Better luck next time. That's the scary part for me. I think Vici just haven't looked good in Mirage recently. So, very obvious counter pick there.
I mean, I've seen a couple of okay games from them on Mirage. I think it's one that they can sort of dabble in a little bit. I almost feel like when I'm watching Vici, it's really just a tale of two sides sometimes. Sometimes they're really, really solid. Sometimes they go completely missing. So for me, it seems like just a case of which Vici turns up to this series. Either Vici that's, you know, looking solid, looking prepared for this match, and maybe has been getting ready for a game against Tyloo, turns up and we see a close series, or we see the Vici that we had last night against, for example, Beyond, and Tyloo runs away with this and they get a 3-0.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I'm not too... I guess I don't take too much issue with the map pool. It's getting a little bit wider as things goes on. Like you said, Kevin, it's interesting that we see the Inferno pick come out so early. I agree that, you know, that is a bit of a dangerous territory to go towards the center of the map pool against a team that's rolling you with firepower day in, day out. You're really setting yourself up with the one map advantage for Tyloo to get yourself O2'd. If they make it onto some of the wider maps like a Train, like an Overpass, I wouldn't count Tyloo out. Even if things are tactical, they will just play a looser style.
Definitely. I wouldn't count Tyloo or Vici out at this point, but maybe after map 1, I'll be singing a different tune. We are getting close to the time where we kick off our first map here between Vici and Tyloo, so we'll have a little bit more analysis after we come back from the break, and then we'll dive into map 1.
Flashbang's effective. They have got through the smoke wall here, but Chris J, he is the final boss of the bomb site.
Now Spitty and Chris J to keep Mousesports alive. Oh, Chris! He's found 3. It's down to a 2-on-2. Chris, can he close this with an ace? Oh my God!
Can they actually close this out? Boom, Chris.
Fantastic way to start, and no scopes on him himself. Absolutely saving Mousesports.
Hey, it's me, Lily from AT&T. I'm back, working from home, and here to help.
Hey Lily, I'm hearing a lot about 5G. Should I be getting excited?
Depends. Are you going to want faster speeds?
I will.
More reliability?
Oh, also yes.
Better response times?
Definitely.
Are you going to be making sourdough bread?
Oh, is that 5G related?
No, it's just like, why is everyone making sourdough now? But yes, you're going to want 5G.
AT&T is building 5G on America's best network. Visit att.com to learn more.
가장 높은 퀄리티 완벽하게 beautiful 작은 하나까지도 다이나모 햇달로 쓰러지 마치 도미노 달콤한 퀸야 완벽하지야 날 무릎 꿇게 만들어 모든 생각에 그친 그녀 향해 모든 내 말에 그친 흐릿해 너의 몸은 눈이 부셔 너의 몸은 눈이 부셔 너의 몸은 눈이 부셔 내게도 다가와줘 너 원하던 여왕님 꿈에서 나 보던 oh yeah oh yeah 넌 대체로 나의 거냐 넌 거지 다이아같이 유일무이하지 너의 그 빛이 좋아 너무 환상적이야 그들 사이에 빛나서 사랑과 미의 여신 너는 God 나를 뛰게 해 더 원하게 해 쓰러질지도 몰라 내가 타오르게 하잖아 쓰러질지도 몰라 내가 타오르게 하잖아 너는 최고의 트로피 말할 필요 없어 무조건 이기겠어 Going for gold 너 원하던 여왕님 꿈에서 나 보던 oh yeah oh yeah 넌 대체로 나의 거냐 거지 다이아같이 유일무이하지 너의 그 빛이 좋아 너무 환상적이야 그들 사이에 빛나서 사랑과 미의 여신 너는 God 나를 뛰게 해 더 원하게 해 쓰러질지도 몰라 내가 타오르게 하잖아 쓰러질지도 몰라 내가 타오르게 하잖아
It's too real, the face I see in front of me. I grit my teeth, I'm bound by a life of honesty. Is there anyone
Tyloo and Vici heading into the grand final here of DreamHack Masters Spring, and things are about to heat up. It's an all-Chinese grand final, which is what we hoped for and what we expected as well. We do have our predictions to give you as well, and that is probably not going to be too much of a surprise, I think, when you see what has been predicted here by the boys on the desk, as is generally the case if you've been watching here in DreamHack Masters Spring. Myself and Pilski are aligned with the generally considered favorite of the matchup, and Kevin's gone for the underdog. So, look, Vici, I mean, I almost debated within myself here about potentially putting Vici on there. I had Vici in the upper bracket. I had them winning the upper bracket. They lost the upper bracket. But I still have this little bit of faith, right? I still have a tiny, maybe like 1%, 2% sort of belief in Vici that we're going to get the good Vici today. And I don't know, I'm clinging on to that for a bit.
Well, I'm definitely clinging on to that. I hope as well that Vici can actually look the goods and actually bring it out in a best-of-5 series. Look, I'll admit, once again, they are the underdogs. If they bring the performance like we saw against Beyond yesterday, this is a 3-0 for Tyloo any day of the week. But, I mean, this is the part where surely as Vici, you get a bit frustrated over losing. This is the part where you go, all right, let's remember how we used to play. Let's actually rise that level again and actually bring that form in. Let's not get complacent in ourselves because we're not #1 in the region anymore. Get some tour points, try to get a victory over our domestic rivals and go from there.
I think it's a pretty important discussion as well to have around Tyloo, where they've had that new roster, they've had a couple of good results in the new roster, but they've also had a couple of disappointing results with this roster as well. So it sort of seems like at least the storyline for Tyloo is that every possibility to kind of stamp their mark back on the Asian region really matters to them right now.
Yeah, I think like the first couple of tournaments, when you get a new roster together, you're kind of thinking like it's a bit of a development. But we definitely have seen a ramp up in their performance. A pretty good first tournament showing in Road to Rio. They almost won it over Tiger. Very, very close series. Weibo, good group stage. A close quarterfinal. They get knocked out, but you can say the same thing for Vici. And in this tournament, I'd say Tyloo have looked even better. It's just been a ramp up, and they're just getting better and better every single opportunity. So this is where I guess some of those opportunities really start to matter a little bit more.
Well, theoretically, this is then the best that Tyloo should look when we get into this grand final against Vici. It's a good opponent to do it against. It's a big matchup that we've seen time and time and time again, and you guys seem a little bit disappointed by what we got in the upper bracket final. Are you looking for something a little bit better in this grand final, Kevin? Hopefully Vici can deliver.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair as well, maybe my expectations were out of line because when we were coming into this grand final, we were expecting this like slow, methodical, like sometimes slow, methodical play, sometimes like this explosive aim fights, map control, like crazy plays happening. But in reality, it was just one-sided aim deals. It was just always working for one team and it wasn't working for the other one. So, I mean, maybe we should just expect that. Just an all-out brawl, just people swinging at each other, and maybe this will be a lot more entertaining.
Okay, but what if Vici have done a bit of homework in the last couple of days, so they come into this one looking like that super hyper-strategical team that we've seen from them in the past?
That's not what you do, is an adjustment, really. End of the day, you're going to do homework. You're going to go to the drawing board and you go, what did Tyloo do good? They out-aimed us, they out-skilled us, they disrespected us and played hyper-aggressive. We have to punish them for that, and it's not necessarily just a strategy. It has to be the individuals actually stepping up to the level of form that Tyloo's bringing, and if they can't do that, they're just going to lose.
I think it's also like back down to like when you first remember Vici actually becoming good again, like back in 2019. Like the part that was most impressive was like all these times when they're taking this territory is like really solid flashbangs. You think back to Inferno yesterday against Beyond. It's like when they were fighting for Nana, it was like perfect flashbangs on the site defense, on the aggression, really good flashbangs to get your entries forward. If you don't do it against Tyloo, if you don't get your flashbangs correct on Mirage, you're just going to get banged out by the aim.
Well, I'd imagine it's going to be a little bit more required than just some good flashbangs from Vici here on Mirage. It's Tyloo's map pick to kick things off in this best of 5, and I will remind you that Tyloo gets a free map win by virtue of coming through from the upper bracket final. A tough ask today for Vici, but we do know that the level that they can hit is good enough to potentially beat Tyloo today. It's just a case of whether or not they can hit that level.
And all starts in the pistol round.
It does. So we'll see what Tyloo are going to be rolling with. It's smoke and a flash over A, onto connector, which has allowed Tyloo to dive straight out middle. They've already got that pick on the mid-window player, and they start this push-up short, but Kaze is starting to punish them.
Kaze is just trying to land the shots, but it's just Dan King and somebody just pushing straight into that B-bomb site, able to get the entries. Well, Dan King's actually on the flank right now, and Advent trying to sneak around the smoke, trying to use the cover. It's not going to work. So somebody in Dan King going to be starting off quite strongly for Tyloo.
Yep, getting that T-side pistol. Starting off their dominance nice and early, getting in the face of Vici, and unfortunately that pistol round did not really look close, and that is, you know, a little bit too early to be calling anything, but it's certainly cause for concern.
Just pistols at the end of the day, so...
That is a very quick smoke to be. Back of mid-site.
Good thing is that there's a pretty big B stack that's coming out. Somebody's just going to be the only player that's dropping utility. It looks like that he's going to be the fake, or they're going to go on the B split. As Orman, he spots out a few, but he's been spotted ducking back in the ladder room. Smoke's going to buy a bit more time, though, as Tyloo actually have a double think about where they're going to be going.
They've used all their utility very early on, trying to bait out a rotation, cause a gap in the defense, of which was read reasonably well by Orman. He doesn't overcommit and lose his life in middle, and that gives Tyloo pause for thought to dive straight up middle to push catwalk. Instead, they're going to reposition back towards the A side of the map. Slowly going to clear out Palace while the rest of the lads creep up a ramp, and somebody tries to make his way through middle and up connector.
But as the situation has settled down, it is actually going to be Jam Young rotating over the ticket. And Zoking going to be dropping the smoke underneath balcony. Look, it's going to give away his position, but very hard to flush him out still. No Molotovs left for the T's to work with, and Zoking close range with a 5-7 as well. Can be absolutely lethal in this crossfire with Jam Young. Palace player has gone down, but Summer now has the rifle at long range. But Jam Young, that's the form that we needed to see, as he has put a huge jam into Tyloo's plans. Now 20 seconds left, attackers on full HP at the very least. He's able to isolate a single deal, and they're just doing it all together. It's going to be Jam Young that closes it up. 4 kills with the Desert Eagle. Vici on the board.
Oh, that is ridiculous from Jam Young. Literally not missing a shot in quick succession, just deleting half the enemy team and continuing his rampage forward. But Attacker almost swings that one around, and we're going to see plenty more of that in this series. Individual players making huge multi-frags and swinging things back and forth. Tyloo are going to force buy into this one. 4 Deagles and a Scout.
They're just sending it straight into the A bomb site at the moment. Only a couple of flashbangs to work with. And Jam Young might be on the receiving end of a Desert Eagle shot himself.
Playing close under balcony. Bit of a risky position against an anti-force or anti-eco.
Noise has been made though, but Jam Young's position has been compromised. And the Deagles won't be able to land the killing blow for now. A lot of counter flashbangs raining forward from the boys on Vici Gaming to try to buy a little bit more time. But Jam Young turns at the wrong time, unfortunately. Zoking's trying to strike, but he's really having a trouble of just wrangling back that MP9 spray down.
Bit brawly. Tyloo waiting for the CTs to overcommit, over-aggress so that they can punish them for it. And they found some decent positions. They found the M4 on Dan King, but Advent, as the smoke fades, he finds an opportunity to pick up Dan King, who can't put the bomb down. And now Tyloo in an awkward position. Somebody trying to find a pick, trying to creep up on Sandwich side as slowly smoked off in Palace.
Somebody's deciding to go up the Scout, but he's been spotted. At least able to grab the single one, but for now, slowly is actually quite low on HP, and all it takes is actually 2 SMG bullets from range. He's been spotted out. So Vici are able to bring that one back because Advent's gone the wrong way around to pick up the M4. He can't really retrieve it in time. Still, Vici are able to navigate through that round at the end of the day, and Tyloo don't get the bomb plant down, so they do have to go on the eco.
That's what you think. But they are just going to force because they know that they did a hell of a lot of damage to the CT side economy. Still within breaking distance. And hey, if they almost got it done with 4 Deagles and a Scout, maybe 4 Deagles and a Galil will go better this time. And this is peak Asian CS.
Like I said, I just had to adjust my expectations. I came into the upper series expecting, once again, like...
It actually has regressed. It's actually kind of insane. How we've gone back to square one of just peak out-aim, trying to out-aim each other and make big plays. I mean, Vici's shown some good efforts working together, counter-flashing for each other on the CT side, but Tyloo very much has been roll around the map, wolfpack mentality. This time around, I mean, they have limited utility, fair go. Still going for a bit of a 1-3-1, working through the map with the Galil and a couple of Deagles. They have found ladder room control.
Oh my goodness, they're going to be picking up the pace at short, and Advent, he can't actually land the killing blows. It's up to Zoking on the rotate to now lock this down. He's done so much damage, but finally it's going to be the riflers coming into assistance as somebody is at least able to get the trade out.
Kaze and Jamyoung to close it out as somebody moves closer to market. Surely spotted out there. He's going to fall back towards bench side. So it's up to this bench and default crossfire between the T's.
It depends when somebody actually peeks out. If he finds the right timing, could go huge, but unfortunately can't land the killing blow. Has tagged down Jam Young. Smoke's going to be deployed on the bomb as well. Might allow a bit of movement for Slowly, but unfortunately can't find the timing as well with the MP9. So Vici will be able to pick up another round. And you can probably bet that Tyloo will be forcing up again.
I don't know.
I
Maybe
don't know
just
at
a half
this
buy this
stage.
time.
They could force up, or they could just go on a complete eco with Deagles. You just never know.
Well, this is enough money for Galil's armor and utility, Kevin. Maybe that's enticing to Tyloo. They don't seem to want to take a save.
AK-47s with no head armor.
No head
oh
armor.
my god.
This is disgusting, Kevin.
Going to get Orman quite quickly up into short.
This very much is just a walk around and take aim doors kind of approach. One smoke and 2 flashes. AWP could be a bit of a difference maker, and there is no lackluster weaponry for Vici. So these are very heads-up duels that they can take. And especially if they take out a round like this, and Tyloo for once doesn't get the bomb plant down, Vici could be off to a very, very good start on the CT side of Mirage here.
The economy is not set up, so all it takes is just one round from Tyloo. They're battering away at the doors at the moment. And it just might be that the Vici gates will be splintered soon.
Jam Young's really going to be tested. It is a full A split. Limited information here for Vici.
Dan King sneaking his way into jungle, but Jam Young at least able to pick up the 2. Summer, though, more than happy to charge in from Palace with the Galil to actually clean up the A-site defenders. So 2 on 3 now, as Kaze not really in the position to find anything just yet, unless someone crosses back in a connect up.
Attacker's got the flash ready for Summer. Sends him in. Advert's ready for that somehow.
Drops a bit of utility as well to continue doing some damage. But Kaze is like still at short, so he was pretty committed for the save. Misses the shot as well into Slowly. So Tyloo, just like that, break Vici's CT economy. And 2 players alive. Yeah, that's not too bad for Tyloo. They'll be happy with that. They get the round.
So Vici, what kind of money do they have after 1k in the bank? A lot of these players, not good. Double eco for Orman as well. Does this incentivize them to force? Especially around the AWP. Or are they going to be a little bit more sensible than Tyloo? There's nothing wrong with going for these forces, but it's definitely a high risk versus reward kind of play. Has paid off for Tyloo in that regard, but if they do get shut out of that last round without finding too many kills, then they are quite far behind on Mirage. It's paid off for them though, and Vici, especially because Orman was double eco, and they are just a bit uneven in terms of the money and still have access to the AWP. They do force buy, and actually it's a double push into underpass to keep things a little fresh. Kaze running around in mid, trying to find some T's, getting over aggressive, trying to find an opening pick.
Oh, he spots out one, but he can't land the shot. I don't know if that was Dan King with the bomb or if it was somebody exiting B apartments, but that's a hell of a lot of information for Vici to work with. There's going to be Tyloo grouping straight back up to the A bomb site. Both Vici members patient at underpass. Orman looking like he's very interested in some vintage rugs, but he just can't grab a hold of them, unfortunately.
Unfortunate.
They're on sale, 80% off. This weekend only, but for every single weekend.
It showed up on Google Maps. It said that they were open till 5 PM. He showed up at 4:45 and they've already closed up. Someone's gone home early. Nightmare situation. Tyloo, they're going to come execute into this A-bomb site. Full retake from Vici Gaming. Jam Young trying to fire some deagle shots through the smoke. Kaze trying to find an angle through one of these smoke grenades, but Tyloo's going to put the bomb down and set up for this post plant.
Bomb plant hasn't gone down just yet. It is going to go quite open though, so a lot of opportunities for Tyloo just to hold on to this successfully. But you can see that the boost has been utilized, and I have a suspicion that Jam Young has spotted out Dan King's head from earlier on. And this is just breaking down to a couple more one-on-one deals. Summer's able to contain that flank aggression. It's actually not an open plant. It's actually planted for default as, Advent does not check sandwich correctly. So Jam Young I don't think he's got enough time to pull off any Deagle heroics this time around. Even if he lands a few more cool shots, I'd still say this round's overdone and dusted for Tyloo as they take every single gun off Vici.
They're going to have to take a save now.
And this was a problem I highlighted with Vici earlier on. There's only one player that's really fragging it up.
Yep. Kaze's looking very tame on the ult.
Well, a good little fight back so far from Tyloo. I mean, Vici started well, didn't they? But Tyloo putting them back in their place. This is a little bit more what we expected to see from Tyloo, starting off well here on Mirage, a map that Vici has historically struggled on. And now having reset the economy of the CT side, it's a possibility that Tyloo just starts to run away with the map from here.
Still though, Vici haven't really had the best opportunities to get these full gun rounds up and working for them. Ormond's having a bit of a shocker at this stage. I mean, you can say that for mainly all of Vici members. Everyone except for Jam Young's having a bit of a slow start.
Yeah, well, Jam Young never really tends to have too many problems. He's always quite solid. Advent here is probably not having a fun time over on the B site there with his P2000 hiding behind bench, because it's unlikely he'll do too much. But here comes the utility from Tyloo, and somebody jumps into the site, copping a bit of damage from the player on short there, which is Ormond. Advent does get run over, and that's pretty much the round. Tyloo going to pick up another one for themselves, and it does look like Vici are actually just backing away here, not too interested in letting Tyloo farm up with the Mac 10s. So that's a bit of a smart decision.
Look at them though, they're just sending the Mac 10s on this hunting party at the moment, looking to try to pick off these USPs, looking to try to pick off Vici to build the bank account. And the question for me is whether or not Tyloo, if they actually keep the Mac 10s in the next round, is it going to be incorporated into their strategy or not?
I kind of want to see it, you know? Like, I want to see what Tyloo's going to do with these Mac 10s, because they're quite an explosive team. Danking and Attacker are using the buddy system to clear out the palace area.
He dies.
He dies to the bomb, which is interesting, but whatever. He would have liked to upgrade anyway. Or maybe not, you know, maybe somebody's the kind of guy that thinks, you know what, I can actually do something with this Mac 10. Danking upgrades.
I feel like somebody's actually just, he can take any gun. His main presence is just on the B apps. He sells his presence. Maybe he gets a kill, maybe he dies, whatever. But Tyloo, as long as they have control of the other side of the map and he's able to draw a few rotations, awesome stuff. Great work.
Quite a dynamic player. I think that's a good way of describing somebody.
I kind of miss the old somebody. Like, this new somebody is a little bit more supportive, doesn't really land some crazy shots. He's very much, like, you can see the rest of the Tyloo players, you can't really have 5 fraggers, like, going on the high impact positions, otherwise there's no one really supporting it. I feel like he's really shifted into the support role instead. Doesn't do as much crazy stuff as he normally does. We still see it occasionally now and then.
Development.
I don't know if it's development. I just genuinely miss the old somebody. The guy that just comes flying around the corner with a UMP and just like double dinks you and just you're dead.
Well, you may still get that if he flies around the corner here into connector with that Mac 10. Zoking's watching, but Slotty's just wandered out onto short. Oh, man. Jam Young. How's he corrected onto that? Danking and somebody go down in the blink of an eye. And all of a sudden, the round looks like it's going to swing back the way of Vici. Important here for Tyloo to get damage done, and Summer's trying to do that. He's found 2 kills, 1 HP though. And a dream, and it doesn't last for long. 4 apiece. Vici, though, right back into the winner's circle. So it does not seem like this is going to be a repeat of the upper bracket match between these two teams. This is very much a slugfest backwards and forwards as opposed to very one-sided maps.
And that's what we love seeing, Jordan. I love seeing maps which are a little bit more equal, more even. It is going to be a force up from Tyloo. They are lacking a little bit in utility, and Kaze is going to be more than happy just to sit there and take control of connector. It is going to be the contact play out into A, but look at this double stack once again from Zoking and Jam Young. They were able to hold off against the connect.
Backing away in towards the T spawn.
And Caster is not kill. I can confirm that. We are alive again. We brought the defibs out, and we'll see if Tyloo can actually resuscitate their chances of taking this half. They are going to be sending it straight up to mid, but 25 seconds left. Orman's going to hear all of this. Advent's got a lot of work to do, as he's actually the solo B-site player.
Zoking and Jamyoung go low very early on in the piece, but look at this position from Advent. It was almost so good. Smoke, though, obscuring his vision. 9 seconds on the clock, and Tyloo still yet to get a bomb plant down. They've got an important kill. Slowly might have done it. They've done it! How have they managed that? 4 seconds on the clock. Tyloo, they keep the dream alive in the round, and they keep 3 guns there as well. That was just a sliver away from Vici round.
Yeah, that was just... I mean, what can I say about that one? Summer just gets the final kill at the last moment. You can see Jamyoung, if he actually stays alive there, they would have won. The bomb carrier died. But you just don't know inside all that chaos, and I would just barely grant Tyloo that round. It was not clean. It was very fortunate in all circumstances, but they have done well enough to reset Vici into the single eco. And this is the problem. It's like you look at Tyloo in terms of this, they're trying to take it structured. They're trying to bring it back a lot more slowly, no pun intended. And it just doesn't work because for whatever reason, it's just not looking well structured enough. Trying to think too much with the big brain instead of relying on the big aim.
Do they have the big aim to really go toe-to-toe with Tyloo, though? Slowly's been very, very solid as a new addition to this Tyloo roster, and I think he's really taking the most of this opportunity. Summer's wildly spraying right there.
I would love to see his perspective. Like how he's like trying to fight left, and he's going back to the right, and he's thinking about this, and he's just flying around with noodle arms. Doesn't work in this case. I mean, he survives. He gets 1, but not 2. Advent's just trying to be a little bit cheeky over here at Market, pretending that the lack of... Actually, you know what? I'm not going to finish that joke.
So long as he survives, it's not a big issue.
Dead.
6-4. And Tyloo keep 5 guns alive. Vici very much on struggle street now on the CT side here of Mirage. As an AWP does get picked up for Kaze. It's going to have armor behind it, but no utility at all.
And the problem is Kaze is just not being able to find any impact kills with this AWP. Like, yeah, you remember him maybe having 2 kills with the AWP, but at that stage, like, the round was overdone and dusted. Now they're just going straight down to A so quickly. And he just gets deleted!
That's huge. Vintage, really, from Attacker.
Exactly what I was thinking. Vintage Attacker. Just rolls out there, bangs your head off. What do you even do? You don't. You don't even get to play the round. Sorry, mate.
Do not play the game.
Oh, there's the bomb plant on default. Vici trying to retake, mostly through CT, with Zerking over towards jungle side. And it's not going too badly.
Jamyoung. Nice shot onto Slowly here as well, and you can see somebody trying to get a little bit aggressive. A double stack towards Tetris, and that actually could work out here for Tyloo if they're not expecting Danking from the same angle. Advent's going to get on the bomb, but Danking could well spam him through here. Orman goes down, Zoking so low. But the defuse, a 10-second defuse as well, will be secured for Vici.
That's why I love Advent. There's not even a hesitation from the man. He instantly just smoked the bomb and goes for the defuse.
Does what he has to do.
Selfless. Always playing for the team. Underrated. Underappreciated.
But he is in everyone's Chinese dream team on Geographically Challenged, so I wouldn't say necessarily that he is underrated, Pilsy.
What an award.
What more could you really want?
The only 3 people that watch Asian CS all rate him.
I mean, that seems like pretty good props.
Yep, fair. 100%. 100% of watchers rate him. Chat doesn't rate him.
No, surely.
Curse you, chat. Oh well. This is, as Kevin was saying, much more back and forth than the other day. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
This is more the game that I expected and I wanted to see.
Another good start for Slowly. Yeah, it is more back and forth, but then you look at Jamyoung and you see that he's 15 and 8, and you wonder if he's not having this kind of a blistering performance, what is the scoreline? Orman's 3 and 9.
10-0.
Zoking 7 and 9. Advent's 4 and 8. And Kaze, I can't say that he'd be much better.
This is cheeky. A little one-way in the smoke for Advent. Only gets him a 1-for-1, but gets him a hell of a lot of information. Was Orman spotted there? I don't think it's really going to matter too much. Tyloo get on towards the bomb site. Bomb going down as somebody creeps into market.
Kaze holds on that angle. Somebody is going to aggress in. It's a wide swing, but Kaze doesn't fall for it. Strong as ever. That is a shot from Dan King. You could barely see Kaze fly across his screen, but Tyloo will win their 7th. They're up 7 and 5 now, and they pull a little bit further ahead.
And this is classic. Tyloo versus Vici. Across the board, I think it's just a little bit more consistent firepower for Tyloo. Vici deciding whether they did want to buy into that one. They've decided against it. Will instead just invest in a whole lot of upgraded pistols.
You hear that, Pilski?
What is that?
Nothing.
I hear the rain on the roof. Very relaxing.
It is. But that's what's happening in this round. Not a whole lot. Tyloo just setting themselves up in T-spawn. Having a good time, having a chill. I mean, it can very well turn into a 10-5 half from this position, actually. So Tyloo do want to make sure that they win this round. Utility starts to get invested on the A bomb site. Smokes go across for jungle and for connector. Onto stairs as well. Kaze will try to hold strong. He's the last one that's actually in the site. 1-for-1's not too bad for Kaze, all things considered, but not enough to win the round for Tyloo. For Vici against Tyloo. And that's a bit of aim pract really for Attacker, who does seem to be on point today.
He's definitely reinvigorated his form. From being on the Tyloo bench to being the carry of Tyloo in a lot of these games with their new all-Chinese roster. Particularly on the T side. I mean, he really does live by his name. Well, again, AWP for Kaze. Very good buy for Vici, but not any cash in the bank. So if they're losing this round, they're definitely going to have a lackluster buy heading into the next run. So they're playing for a chance at not getting 10-5'd. Quick one straight up short. It's a B split, and Tyloo doesn't seem like they are running into any opposition on this B bomb site.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's a particularly fun prospect for Vici. Not for Advent either, holding with a FAMAS. This is a real clean round from Tyloo. Kind of just sweeping Vici aside, as they have done toward the end of this half. We're sort of shaping up now for a 10-5. At first we thought this was going to be a close map, and it was kind of going backwards and forward, but that's very quickly been wrenched away by Tyloo as Jamyoung tries to hold on to the AWP, but can't cross against Dan King. And now the score is 9-5. Pretty lackluster buy for Vici here.
Understatement. Unless they're looking like APOC with the MP9 earlier. I'd say that this is looking like a Tyloo round. And, you know, I think your question's kind of answered itself, Jordan. Just saying what happened. Look, Jam Young's having a great game.
Yeah.
But he hasn't gotten any frags, and Vici haven't gotten any rounds.
Yeah, what happens when Jam Young doesn't frag? And I think we are, getting a good insight into that at the moment. Been quite a few on the trot for Tyloo, and last time I sort of spoke about it, Jam Young was still at 15 frags. And he remains there. Still a pretty decent first half for him if he goes in with only 15 frags at half time, but it's definitely not enough to get Vici over the line against Tyloo. Advent's dropped early. Orman has been spotted here by somebody, and will dispatch of him pretty comfortably actually with that MP9. A favourable aim duel for him. Zoking at that range lasers attacker out of the server, and that has to prompt a bit of a response here from Tyloo, but it does not seem to be going the way they want it to. Danking on his own. The scout for Kaze results in a tag that puts Danking down to a one-shot. Somehow, he's hit that as a headshot as well. I don't know what's going on here, but it is Vici that will secure their 6th at the end of the first half of Mirage. A crazy first half, but maybe not as crazy as some that we've seen in the upper bracket final between Vici and Tyloo. Either way, they'll both be wanting to put in a good step forward in the pistol round of the second half. (9-6) is the scoreline. Tyloo will probably be pretty happy heading into the second half with that next to their name, but you think it could have been 10, and you think it could have been a little bit more, especially given the fact that Jam Young had to drop 17 frags in the first half to even get Vici to 6 rounds. And it still seems like a bit of a lackluster performance coming in so far from Vici today, but maybe there's something to be said for their second half here on the T side.
Yeah, no one else in double digits, but they're looking to try and make that change. Somebody's going to flash in for attacker and follow it up with grenade as well, which has sort of put a halt in this Vici B bomb site push.
Yeah, but there's still 2 members here. Somebody dancing around with the P250, though, might have exposed just a little bit too much to force us back down to a 2-on-2. So Dan King on the fast flank, looking to see if he can assassinate the bomb carrier. No, actually, he just takes down Kaze. So at least the bomb plant goes down for Vici. So you'd be expecting a force out of them, but Tyloo able to dispatch the remaining members of Vici with ease in that pistol. I think that's 2 out of 2 pistol rounds for Tyloo, isn't it?
Yep, I believe so.
Yeah, they lost the force. Oh, not
Anti-force.
the anti-force because Jam Young just went, yeah, I've got a deagle.
Anti-force, and then we got to use all the terminology. MC wants us to start saying anti-bonus round.
Oh, anti-bonus round, excellent.
He was like, "That's not really a gun round, is it?" It's
You know
more
what I am? I'm anti-MC at this point.
Oh, you want to say that to his
Yes!
face, mate?
Yes!
I'd actually look. I would like the odds on MC actually winning a fight against Elfish Guy.
In
I
game,
reckon it'd be favourable. I
in
mean,
game,
both.
100%.
Both.
Out of game, 90,
I heard
95%.
MC actually bench presses like 200 kilos.
Easily.
So, and I heard Elfish Guy can bench press 10.
Well, Vici, they're looking to split this A bomb site, and Summer isn't benching anything because he's dead.
Dan King's got the org in hand. But the nade just completely misses. So now we really have to rely on the rifles at long range. Not if you're slowly, though. Able to spray down the MP9 at that distance. Kaze's taken a little bit more damage. And now the rifle's coming out into play with somebody actually picking up 2 with a FAMAS.
Well, as far as the anti-bonus round goes, not good.
Not going to catch on. Telling you right now.
I don't think that was an anti-bonus round. That was just... Vici actually had the better buy, but unfortunately unable to get the grills working out. Doesn't matter what terminology you throw at it. Tyloo's aim was just better than Vici's at that stage.
What about trigonometry, Kev?
I don't think there was any... No favourable third lines found by me on a triangular basis.
True.
See, that's not trigonometry. That's just pure, easy, quick maths. I spot someone, I shoot him.
Well, somebody on this kind of an angle is looking to continue minusing people from the server.
So normally you have this incendiary grenade, you'd stop pushing, but you can bet somebody's actually going to push at the very end of it and clear it out. That's like 100%.
It's just to set up the push.
Yeah, 100%.
Even if slowly shooting him in the back of the head, he's still just closing out these fights.
Teammate can't get the kills if the bullets go into your head instead of the enemy's head.
Oh, that's big brain. That's how you get maximum eco frags.
That's how you get the big stat points. So Tyloo racing off to a 12-6 lead for now. Fire round comes out for Vici.
Well, quick utility from Vici to go for a very fast short split. If slowly is ready. Rest of Vici grouping up in apartments as Allman holds on until the rest of the team can potentially join him. Molotov will slow him down. Somebody has smoked off apartments, which gives Vici a bit of pause for thought, but this right-click flash might make all the difference. Matter of timing here for Vici.
That's good timing. Soken goes pretty low, but he's got the entry that they really did need. Slowly, can't go anywhere. Allman's waiting for him. Tyloo will find it a little more difficult in this round to get anything done, so they just elect to not play the round. That seems fair enough.
That one didn't count. I wasn't ready. I'm not playing anymore.
Who's that?
That's me when I was younger.
Oh,
and I was getting beaten up by my brothers on Brood War.
Have you considered just getting better, lol?
I did.
Yeah. How did that go for you?
They don't play games anymore.
I see. You played the Long Kong there, Mitch.
So they inevitably were better at life.
Yeah, they just retired and then got better at life, so I'm just forever a loser. Feels bad, man.
That
I
does
don't know
feel
about
bad,
that.
man.
Actually, I don't know if I should say what I was about to say on broadcast, so I'm just going to leave it alone for now.
I think there are many things that should remain unsaid on broadcast.
Yeah, like Jordan Mays speaking it all.
That's actually toxic, and I feel like, sorry, we're going to need to call security to get Pilsky out of here. That's just uncalled for. Elfish guy, I'll have you know you have my undying support.
Suck up. Well, Tyloo, they have lost a couple rounds in the last few. See if Vici can keep on this streak and start to close this round gap.
Did Soaking not spot out somebody? Okay, apparently not. Might have just been our side that we're able to see something. Either way, Vici do take this mid control. Or throw a bit of utility at mid. Pretend they're taking mid control. Make some noise at B. But they're actually grouping up for this A side hit. And it's only going to be Summer that's here.
Yeah, it's a retake set up for Tyloo on the A bomb site. Choosing to lean more heavily towards middle. Looking like a good call for Vici.
Summer's thinking about going through, but I would say probably not the best bet with the Molotov in position. Flashbangs are coming forward into jungle though, and he does have a little bit of a gap to work with as he pushes through. Just a little bit too late to deny the bomb plant, but at least the crossfire is happening 4v4 on the A bomb site on this retake.
Bit of utility to play with for Tyloo, but it doesn't seem they're going to opt to use it. It's a dry push in from somebody. He gets one onto Orman, but fully flashed right after that, and Kaze and Jamyoung will spring and strike. It's just slowly left alive. He doesn't really have the time to work with here. So, I'm going to stick around, but we all knew where that was going.
Well. In the upper bracket series, whoever took up 12, 12 to 5, 12 to 6, whatever it was, kind of lead, probably would have just run away with the game and the other team would have no answer for it. But Vici are very resilient here. They've reset the money on 3 of these Tyloo players, and they are really showing up to this game, lads. Starting to turn around to the T side a little bit.
Elfish guy's not really not
I'm
convinced
not convinced yet. I'm not convinced yet.
Those are 2 good calls. The short split, they call a halt. That round didn't look close. That A bomb site take, that round didn't look close. You're not getting convinced? 2 really solid gun rounds in a row, putting their opponent on an eco?
They're still down by 4 rounds, and it's Vici. It's going to take a lot to turn this hype train around. I was choo full steam ahead.
I thought you were a Jamyoung fan.
I
but
was.
It turns out that you're actually a hater.
Jamyoung. Wow.
I am a Jamyoung fan.
I thought you put Advent in your Asian dream team.
If Jamyoung,
in your Chinese dream team.
Jamyoung was in my team as well.
Jamyoung was in your team? Was Kaze in your team?
No, he's not Chinese.
you see, Elfish guy's a fake Jamyoung fan, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's fair.
You can't be in my Chinese dream team if he's not Chinese.
Imagine not being Chinese and being on Vici for this long, and Jordan's just like, nah, it's not part of the Chinese scene, so...
Anyways, yeah, look, I was full steam ahead for Vici in Road to Rio, and I've been burned by that. So now, they're going to have to really do something pretty special to prove me right. So can get some pretty good entries there, though.
Look, he's just dying for your approval.
No, he's not. He's getting frags for my approval.
Yeah, he hasn't died yet, so that's always good. Keeps the money up for Vici, and slowly just looking to do some damage, but I feel like his footsteps probably have been heard at that stage.
Well, with this round advantage that Tyloo, the round gap that they've earned themselves, they're going to build up a little bit of loss bonus and start buying some pretty dangerous weapons, maybe even a double AWP in this next round. We've seen that a few times from Tyloo. Does that throw a bit of a spanner in the works for Vici, who are on a pretty good streak of rounds here on the T side, really starting to get themselves rolling. Look at that. That doesn't impress you?
That's impressive mechanics from a replay operator. That's all I'm going to say.
We'd expect
Wow.
Slow-mo's at the perfect time.
Jordan's a hater recently. I don't understand. Vici,
How?
they're slowly starting to come back into this.
They
Give
are.
them a bit of credit.
Slowly. I'll give them credit when they hit 16 here on Mirage.
Ooh,
Oh,
the big calls.
I feel like this is like a soundboard.
They're like an ex-girlfriend, Kevin. That's what you have to understand. I love them so much. We were in love, me and Vici. And then they cheated on me in Road to Rio.
How do they cheat? They lost.
They lost to Tyloo, exactly.
Wow.
That means you weren't committed to see through the tough times, Jordan. They didn't cheat.
That's it. You're not a real fan.
You got to raise your character to really be a Vici fan.
Look, they're going to have trouble in this round with this double
Mhm.
AA ramp setup. Danking's on triple with the AWP as well, lads.
Yeah, it's all down to Zoking getting these entries, but the trades are actually really good for Vici. Dan King, now he has to have the dance of his life, and he's starting it quite well, but Vici definitely in the position to get the trades as well.
Yeah, look, good effort from Danking on triple to peg 2 back. Puts it into a 2-on-2. Kaze set up in the post plant. This is where he must deliver.
And Kaze is actually just stuck in the worst position whatsoever. It's all down to Orman right now, but he's not looking the right way.
Ooh.
Somebody...
I was a bit worried.
That was a bit of a scary spray, but he brings it back, so Tyloo do manage to take the gun round at the very least.
Only with one gun alive, though.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be costly for Tyloo, but for Vici,
What if somebody accidentally throws this molly?
I don't think
Who-
he's that much of a goose.
Who's
He's got to
gonna
smoke.
throw it? Can I get a lull in chat for the who joke? Anybody?
You can lull right out of here.
Oh, man.
You
It's
see,
just
you
classic
see what I'm
comedy.
pointing at the moment? There's
Type
a door over
haha
there.
in chat if you
stepladder?
think Custer
No,
is
no, so that
cringe.
door, right? That's saying Vici.
Yeah.
Those are the chances of Vici taking this game at the moment. It's kind of gone out the door.
I don't think so. I completely disagree.
Actually has.
I think
a little
that
bit.
they can single reset Tyloo's economy, put themselves on 11 rounds. This B execute works out for them. Rotation's coming out for Tyloo though. Slowly and somebody quite a combo to lock down this B bomb site, and you're seeing attacker starting to search in middle for some information.
There's no utility really to fight with here at the B bomb site. It just has to be the guns doing the talking at the moment. Vici now going to be gearing up for their attack. Out comes the smokes, out comes the utility. Slowly and somebody to receive.
Somebody starts well. It's Orman down early and slowly continues to put in that consistent solid work that we've seen from him on Tyloo since his join. Kaze's the last alive. Advent at least got one posthumously, but can Kaze do something a bit special here? I thought he was ramping up for it. Not quite, though.
Alright, I'll admit that this is starting to get a bit scary.
All right.
Up 14 and 9.
You may have called it a bit early, is what you're saying.
I mean, this is the first tactical pause that's coming out from Vici at this stage.
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
That is weird. Why is that weird?
Because they've been in a tough position in a couple of times this game.
Maybe they were just as confident as you were. They thought they didn't need one.
Well, I think that confidence was a little misplaced. I think we've established that.
I don't know about that fun fact over there. Shouldn't it be technically 67% if you're rounding up there, Tex Guy? I'm more, Karat's not really impressed at the moment.
Are
We
we
need to bring
are
our
we
A-game here for the grand finals.
We round up in this house?
We round up, we don't round down. That's not how maths works over there.
Karat did math.
I'll tell you, the maths over here on the B-bomb site look absolutely great.
Slowly plus somebody equals good.
Don't you love how when the replays slow down, the sound slows down in the replay as well? I love it. Love it.
Somebody versus Kaze with the AWP.
And what do you even do? You're just getting naded to high hell, flashbanged. Turn tail and run away, I suppose. Tyloo, CT side is basically alternating between stacking only towards middle and only playing on the bomb sites and nothing in between. And I think it's throwing Vici off a little bit. Interesting that Summer doesn't actually have a primary weapon in this round, and Dan King had plenty of money to give him one.
Peter 50 could be serviceable at the range that he's playing in at the moment. Might have been expecting pistols, as Maybe a bit of a misread on the economy situation of Vici Gaming. Out comes the smoke grenades. Dan King, though, will be able to drop the incendiary grenade. Attacker actually not using any of his utility. And that's a great entry onto Dan King as well. Attacker going to be helping out as Attacker just locks it down. You say that Summer's only got a P250. Well, his primary weapon is actually going to be Attacker. And he's going to retrieve an AK-47. And the chances now for Vici to make a comeback on Mirage, pretty much 9-year impossible when Tyloo are playing like that.
It just got deleted. And you look at the across-the-board performance of the Tyloo players, and then the across-the-board performance of the Vici players, and I think it's just 9 days, isn't it?
That was... What was that spray even coming in from Summer? He like sees barely pixels and he still lands 2 headshots on the spray down.
That's raw Chinese aim, my friend.
Why can't I get any of that? I've been chipped.
You're an ABC, doesn't count.
Unfortunately, it seems that Vici have by and large been gypped as well.
It's Mirage. We're not expecting them to come away with the victory. Maybe right when we least expect it from them, they can actually turn this around a little bit. Trying to come onto this A-bomb site.
Doesn't seem like that's going to happen to me, Pilski. I'm believing that Tyloo will finish this one off quite easily. Kaze is the last alive, and no hope of a resistance really here from him. That is going to be the end of the map. A little bit too easy, it feels like, toward the end there for Tyloo as they secure a 16-9 on map number 1. It's Mirage to go to Tyloo, which will put them now 2-0 up in the series, needing only one more to finish off the best of 5.